If your baby is waking up at 4 a.m. and you would do anything to sleep until 6 or 7 a.m., then this video is for you. I'm coming in hot with my number one tip, and that is to stop reinforcing these early morning wake-ups with an early nap. Think about it. If your baby is waking up at 4 a.m. and you think, yeah, they're gonna be tired by 7 a.m., they need to take an early nap, you're reinforcing the fact that they're waking up at 4 a.m. by saying, that's okay, let's take a nap at 7. So the number one question that I get is, well, how do I make this change if my baby is already tired at 7 a.m.? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not going to be easy. There isn't just some magic trick. You have to put in the work, and there is going to be some discomfort while you're making change. You're going to have to keep your baby awake until an appropriate nap time. Around 4 a.m. is when your baby's melatonin production plummets. It basically stops. So when your baby wakes up at that hour, it's so much harder for them to get back to sleep. So I'm going to tell you 5 ways of how you can fix these early morning wake-ups. Now, I am going to say again, there is no magic trick. It is not an easy fix. This is one of those things with your baby's sleep that's going to take the longest to fix. But as long as you're consistent and as long as you follow these tips, you'll be in a much better position in the next coming weeks. The first thing that I'm going to tell you is that you have to have an appropriate wake-up time. So you might be wondering, what's an appropriate wake-up time? It's anywhere after 6 a.m. but before 8 a.m. So ideally sometime in the 7 a.m. hour. So if your baby is waking up around 4 or 5 a.m. and it's before this appropriate wake-up window, then you need to keep your baby in their room no matter what. It is not time to get up and play and start the day. It is still sleep time, and it needs to be treated as such. When it is an appropriate wake-up time, that is when you need to start your morning routine. So you need to have a routine that your child knows it's morning time and this is how we're going to start the day every day. So you should have the same routine every single morning. Whether that means you give your child a big hello, you open the curtains, you change their diaper and their clothes, and then you have that first feeding of the day completely separate from your middle of the night feedings if your baby is still eating overnight. Now, the second thing that you want to do is set your first nap of the day at the same time every single day. You want to make sure that you are keeping that consistent so that your child's circadian rhythm gets into the swing of having nap one at the same time every single day. Generally, 9 a.m. is a typical first nap time. So yes, you are going to have to keep your child awake until 9 a.m. And after the first couple days of like really kind of trying to force them to stay awake, it's going to become a lot easier. Their body is going to fall into that habit and start sleeping in later in the morning. Now, like I previously said, you need to keep your child in their room until an appropriate wake-up time. So what exactly does that mean? So whatever method you used for sleep training originally to get your child to sleep independently until this hour, you need to implement that strategy at 4 a.m. as well. This is not time to go in and start talking and singing and playing with your baby. You need to continue the sleep training process. So let's say you were using the chair in the room method for your baby's initial sleep training. So if you are sitting in the room at bedtime until your child falls asleep, you need to do this at 4 a.m. as well. So you are there to comfort your child as they need it, but they are also independently staying in the crib. If you're using more of a leave and check sleep training method, then you want to give your child 10 minutes from that initial wake up time, go in, check on them, make sure everything's okay, and then you want to leave again. Let them have that space in their sleep environment to fall back asleep. You want to keep doing this until 6 a.m. Now, if your child is more upset by your interventions, you're going to want to give them a little bit more time in between check-ins because you're probably overstimulating your child. You need to leave them in the sleep environment so that they can get used to going back to sleep. And if all else fails, go in the room and sit quietly with your child in a rocking chair or whatever it might be, because in my opinion and in my practice, what I prefer to do is have the child get used to falling back asleep, even if that means assisted, and then waking them up at an appropriate wake-up time so that their body is getting used to going back to sleep, and then we can more gradually work towards making that more independent. But of course, we're going to give your child the opportunity to fall asleep independently before we have them falling asleep assisted. The next thing that I want you to do is check your child's schedule. You need to make sure that they're on an age-appropriate schedule and make sure that they have proper wake windows for their age. If your child is waking up at this time and they are happy and ready to start the day, you probably do need to adjust your schedule somewhere. You probably need to add more awake time, either in between their naps or before they go to bed. If you're unsure about age-appropriate wake windows, I want you to grab my free baby sleep guide. It's in the description box down below. You can download that. It'll come straight to your inbox, and you will have a wake time chart that you can print out and put anywhere in your house that you need it. A lot of parents are shocked to see what their child's wake windows actually should be, and when they make that adjustment, things really start to fall into place. Now, I touched on this briefly, but I wanted to circle back and talk about not overstimulating your baby. If you need to go in and check on your baby during this 4 to 6 a.m. time slot, I need you to really refrain from trying to sing your baby to sleep or talk about it and have a conversation with your baby. Like, no, this is still sleep time. You need to leave your baby as uninterrupted as possible because they need to learn everybody's still sleeping. Like, go back to sleep. Another thing that you really need to make sure you are doing is make sure that you have the child's room completely blacked out. At 4 a.m. when their melatonin stops producing and that sun starts coming up, their brain is being signaled that it is awake time, but it is not. So you need to make sure that the room is completely blacked out. Do the blackout bedroom test where you're putting your hand in front of your face. If you can see it, it's not dark enough. If you can't even see your hand in front of your face, you know you're on the right path. And then additionally, you want to make sure that you have white noise going in your child's bedroom continuously all night long. This is going to help drown out any of the birds that are starting to wake up in the morning, or garbage trucks going outside, or anything else that might be happening at that wee butt crack of dawn where nobody's really ready to be awake yet, but maybe some people are. And also, you need to make sure that you are patient. Like I said several times, this is going to take some work. You need to be prepared to put in 2 to 3 weeks of work in order to see improvements, and you need to stay consistent. The minute you throw consistency out the window is the minute that everything is back at square one and all of your efforts thus far have been wasted. So stay consistent. It's going to take a few weeks for your child's circadian rhythm to adjust. You need to remember that this is a biological change that needs to happen within your child's body, and it's not just, oh, I changed a couple habits over the last couple days, everything's gonna be better. No, your child's internal clock needs to be readjusted, and that takes time. So don't forget, download the free baby sleep guide in the description box down below. Check out this video for more information on early morning wake-ups, and keep blooming. Mwah.